So this is going to be a pretty short review because the film I watched I didn't particularly care for. This was my final in my watching of the Preston Sturges films that we showed last week. And this is one of his last films. This is the first film he made after leaving Paramount, and he made it with Howard Hughes and the company that they set up, and there was some problems, and he convinced Harold Lloyd to come out of retirement to make this film. It was originally called The Sin of Harold Diddlebock, and it's supposed to be a sequel to The Freshman. There's even the first 10 minutes is actually just the last 10 minutes of The Freshman. Hughes was not happy with the final cut. He fiddled around with it, and he re-released it a few years after it had originally been released, retitled Mad Wednesday. Neither version was well received. Both versions are still available. I believe the version I watched was The Sin of Harold Diddlebock and not the Mad Wednesday version because of the length. It's a bit of a mess, and to be honest, I'm not a very big Harold Lloyd fan. He's not really my favorite dude. So, really, the mania of Sturges' earlier screwball comedies coupled with the sort of Harold Lloyd shtick really, I don't think works. I think it's too much all the time. And there's some just really bad sound effects that go on throughout it. And the female star, she made this one film and that's it. And she's okay, but it's like you can really tell this is made on a low budget. Really, the only thing this movie, for me, the only charms of it were the handful of stock players from his earlier films that came over because they're fun. And there was also a lion that's always good. But mostly it just was kind of sad. It was sad to see Harold Lloyd in this thing, and it was sad to think that Preston Sturges had made so many great films, and then suddenly, like, this is what comes out. And it mostly makes me think Howard Hughes was a bit of a dick and probably meddled in places where if he'd just let Preston Sturges do what he did, it probably would have been a lot better for everyone involved. But also having some sort of auteur-type dude as Preston Sturges work with an auteur-type dude like Harold Lloyd, you can see the strife that they were having, and so they weren't able to be the best for either of themselves. Because Harold Lloyd needs a director who isn't a star, and Sturges really needs stars who are okay with the director being the star. And that's not the case in this film, and it ends up just being a mishmash. But I'm glad I saw it because I'm a completist, and I only have 4 Sturges' films left I need to find. 2 from his earlier part of his career in the Paramount days, and 2 of his later films that I don't know if they're available anywhere, but I'll find them if they are, and then I'll have seen all his films, and that's kind of sad in and of itself. There's actually a few directors that I haven't finished their filmographies with like 1 or 2 films left, because I'm like, I'm going to leave that for the future. It happens. So anyways, this was The Sin of Harold Diddlebock from 1947, also known as Mad Wednesday when it was released in 1950. It's a bit of a mess.